Are you feeling boxed in by your current role on your basketball team? Maybe your vision for your game and your coach's vision for your game are on two completely separate pages. This can be a really tricky situation to navigate because you want to be coachable, but you also want the freedom to do your thing. I want to give you a simple 4-step plan to help expand or possibly even break out of your role if that's what you're looking to do. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? It's Coach Eddie, former player, current trainer, and coach. I've had the pleasure of helping athletes from all skill levels improve their mental and physical game, and hopefully I can do the same for you. Today's topic is one that hits home for me because it's something I dealt with a lot when I was playing college ball. I went to 2 different schools in 2 completely different leagues and divisions, and due to that and multiple injuries, I've had to climb my way up rosters multiple times. Regardless if you're in middle school, high school, junior high, or college, I think this can definitely help you out. So let's go ahead and get into step number 1. You have to have the conversation. And what do I mean by the conversation? The conversation is you have to sit down and schedule a one-on-one meeting with your coaches. Now, you don't want to go into this meeting guns a-blazing, telling them that you can do more and you don't think you're being utilized the correct way. We don't want to be combative in this conversation. We want to soak up as much information as we possibly can. So I want to give you the word for word verbatim question you need to ask your coach during this sit down. All you have to do is simply ask, Coach, I'd just like to know, what is your vision for my role on this team moving forward? What are you looking for from me? Now, this is a very open-ended question that will allow the coach to tell you exactly what they're looking for from you. And they're answering a lot more questions than one. It's also telling you what they feel like the team needs, which is something that you can possibly fulfill. And another thing they're telling you without you having to ask is what they view your potential level as. Now, I want to let you know the answer you get might sting. Maybe they tell you that they just want you to be a talkative, energetic player that gets the starters ready for the games in practice this year, meaning they have no intention to give you any significant minutes this season. Or it might be on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and they tell you that they see very high potential for you to be an integral piece of the team, whether that be a scorer or rebounder or whatever it is, and they're just kind of waiting for you to step up to the challenge. Regardless of what they tell you, you now have your answer, and it's time to go to step 2, training. I'm talking about the work you do for yourself outside of mandated practices. Whether that's going to the gym with a trainer like myself, by yourself, with a couple of friends and teammates, whatever, you need to be working on your game a minimum of 3 days a week outside of mandated practice. And the fact of the matter is you cannot train like a role player. Don't just train for your current role. The younger you are, the more skill sets you need to be collecting and working on. If you know you're already a pretty good and consistent shooter, maybe you don't spend 90% of your gym time getting up standstill shots. Work on your handle, work on your footwork, work on your strength and agility. If you're just known for the catch and shoot 3, maybe you start working on introducing that 1 and 2 dribble pull up. Every player, especially guards and forwards, needs to have a floater in their game. So work on adding these different layers and things to your game. Players that I've been working with since they were in the 6th grade and now they're in high school, I've seen them go through all the struggles of not playing at all, then the struggle to finally getting some playing time, but not a lot. And now they're getting significant playing time, but they're trapped in a role and they want to do more. And that leads us into step 3, and that's showing up for practice. This is your time to show your coach what you've been working on in training by yourself. If you're a player who's just in the game to box out and play defense and get rebounds, but you want to be a little bit more of an integral piece to scoring, this is the time to do it in team practice. Practice is high energy, it's fast tempo, but it's extremely low stakes. Don't necessarily worry about makes and misses. Just show the coach that you're willing to be aggressive and attack. You can be aggressive and attack without shooting a lot. But if you have been working on your shot consistently, if you get an open look, take it. If you see an open lane, take it. Most importantly, you need to be communicating in practice. Show your coach that you have some leadership skills, and I promise that leash will slowly start to loosen up a little bit. It's extremely important that you start doing those things that you've been working on in training and bringing them into practice, because you're going to be practicing 4 to 6 days a week. You only play once or twice a week. So you have way more time to earn your coach's trust in that situation, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Moving on to step 4, and that's showing and proving in the game. Now, my kids in middle school, junior high, or high school, if you're on your team's B team or JV, you have a very beneficial experience that your varsity players simply don't have. So if you're wanting to change your role and you play any sort of B team or JV minutes, this is where you really work on it. So I'm going to give you my step-by-step advice of how you work your way up and work that courage into changing your role and bringing that and implementing that into your game in real time. I'm just going to use the example of becoming more of a scorer, because that's just something that everybody wants to do on every team. The first step to being more of a scorer is you have to be more aggressive. So I always assign my players one task every single game, and that is a number of paint touches. So if you play a decent amount of minutes, I might just assign you 12 paint touches this game. That's super simple. 3 paint touches per quarter. There's no pressure for amount of scoring. There's no pressure from amount of shots taken. Just touch that paint 3 times per quarter. Maybe you pass out to an open man, maybe you drop it off to a big, maybe you get into your floater or your mid-range jump shot, but touch that paint 3 times per quarter to start out. And once you've shown and proved that you can do that consistently, that leash loosens up a little bit more. Coach starts to trust your decision making a little bit more. Now you want to add a shot count. Maybe you only shoot 2 shots per game. So over the next 6 games, you're going to make sure they're good shots, of course, but maybe you get up 5 shots over this next 6 games. At least 5 shots. Don't force, but make sure that they're good shots. If you're playing your game while you're getting these 5 shots, if you're not forcing while you're taking these 5 shots, you're going to score more points, you're going to look more poised, and you're going to look like more of an efficient scorer. So just to recap, you need to have that conversation with your coach. What do they want from you? And then you have to express to your coach what you would like to do as well. 2, you have to train, and you have to stop training like a role player. Work on all your skills. Attack your weaknesses. 3, implement the stuff that you have been working on every single day in practice. And eventually, number 4, start working on that stuff in game. You can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to miss. You can't be afraid to make a turnover, because if you're afraid to do all of these things, you're going to get pulled out of the game regardless. So you might as well just play like you know you can play. And if you get pulled out of the game, at least you do it on your own accord and not because you're being timid. And I just wanted to let you guys know I'm taking on 5 mentees. I am going to mentor 5 athletes virtually. I'm only taking 5 because it's getting towards that time of year where the summer is about to hit, and I'm going to be extremely busy, and I don't have enough time or space to fill more than 5. If you're interested in that, I have a link for you to fill out a form in the description. Until next time, guys.